And up next, we're going to double click. Hello there and welcome to the show. My name is Nico Steyn. I'm absolutely delighted to have you here. It's wonderful, and I'm also really thrilled that this is that part of the show where we're going to double click on some posts that were up over the last week or two and that I've really enjoyed. And as I look in the corner, I see 4 people watching or so long. And please remember that as you have questions or anything that you have for the end of the show, you have a chance of winning that free workshop as well. So all questions that we feature in the show are going to have a free workshop added to them or attached to them. I want to start with a post that I did, which was around the 6 rules of storytelling. And here they are. This is a post that I saw, which was told by Pixar, and it really fascinated me. So I wanted to deep dive a little bit more and tell you what I think about these 6 rules of great storytelling to build engagement and make sure your audience is there every time you tell a story, a layer deeper and deeper and deeper in connection. Now, if you had to look at the first one, which is to be universal, go and think about something like Toy Story and how everybody understands toys and how sharply we connected with that. If you think about Finding Nemo, the purpose of the story was so clearly defined that it constantly, even the title, reminded you what this movie was doing. Think about their movie director Tui, that interesting characters that just connect and we could care for, and immediately built deeper layer of emotion and connectivity. Same element of surprise and interesting stuff around Monsters, Inc. And the same was true again for WALL-E, which was such a fabulous movie. I just loved it. Now, there was another post that I did also in the last week, and it was really something around Barnum. It was a quote, and it was something that Barnum said, but I wanted to double click on it because I just love it so much. The quote goes like this: "Without promotion, something terrible happens. Nothing." I love this because Barnum was such an interesting man as a self-advocated greatest showman on earth, but he had a fantastic way of dealing with stories and dealing with the excitement level of the kind of displays that he had in his museum and the way that he went about getting his audience in and fully engage so much that they would spend time and money in his museum and possibly even revisit. So let's think about when we communicate what there is about this Barnum world that we can pull into communication. I put some ideas together, and I think first of all of us want to share knowledge. And the most important part of that is that we need to make those ideas memorable, because by making it memorable, we can create a talk value around the information we share. And ultimately, this would make that information repeatable to an audience so that we can move people to go and take action. And I think the 2 key things around this that you want to remember is that you want to be memorable and you want to make your message repeatable. These are the very reasons we exist and the very reason we're doing this. There's something I want to share with you that I want you to remember and go and tell somebody else. Let's go and look at Barnumisms and how that translates in Barnum's world. First of all, you want to attract and draw attention. Is it with music? Is it with a graphic? Is it with something different and a little bit off kilter? You want to think about excitement that will hold that engagement right until the end. So what is there that's exciting about your story that you could add? How could you bring something unusual to it? And the next cue about Barnum is also that he used to work with escapism and a fantasy element. I mean, everybody knows that he couldn't have had a mermaid skeleton in his museum, right? And ultimately it was delivered as a fraud because it was a combination between a monkey skeleton and a fish that was sewn together. But there were moments in that story that really worked and rang true for audience members, and that's why they went there. Look at an image that can fuel the imagination and just enough of a little bit of danger in your story so that it can really make a connection. So that was that post that really had some interesting comments, and you can check it out online. Another one that caused some questions to pop up was my post that said why the side-by-side Zoom interview is really evil. Now, I don't know about you, but I've been in 1 or 2 of those where there was a long introduction And I sat side by side for a long time listening to it and felt a little bit nervous. Now, there are some things that I put together as a cheat sheet because you want to come across with your story. And I suppose the first thing that you have to remember when you're going to be in a Zoom call side by side as an interview, as much as the interviewer is on a mission to have their information drawn out of you and they have an agenda, you should have an agenda also to get your story across. So there's a tugging going on between information, scene setting, pull information from you, and for you to go get a question, reframe it, guide it in the direction that you want, and get that back. So I thought to create a little cheat sheet to just get some of the uncomfortable moments of being stared down on the screen out of the way. And here's my list. So my interview cheat sheet starts by saying, remember that you don't have to feel that you need to stare the screen down. I don't know who started the story that says you have to look at the screen the whole time, but I don't think it's true, because the fact of it is you don't go through real life constantly staring the screen down, right? You take moments to break, you take moments to look at things that are passing through, and so on and so on. So think about what you can do to break the screen, as we say. And I have I use a pen. So somewhere along the line during the meeting, you could be writing something down. Another one would be to break screen with a cup of coffee. Drink something if you need to, because again, it gives you those moments to break frame and to slow down things and focus again and get back to where you want to be. I actually have my coffee standing by, but I'm not going to do the sip right now because I'm in the middle of a thought. And the next one would be to lean in for more important stuff. Or, on the other end of it, lean out if you're going to use some gestures or if you're going to use the space around you a little bit more. Remember that your camera is quite close to you and it foreshortens the action. So it does mean that if you leaned in only 20 centimeters on your computer camera, it will make the world's difference between what is a loosely mid shot and a considerable close-up that you could use to effect while you have your interview.